Meanwhile, the investigation continues in Congress. The House Intelligence Committee issued 7 subpoenas in its investigation of Russian meddling, including into leaks about the story. 4 subpoenas are related to Trump's inner circle, including Michael Flynn and personal attorney Michael Cohen, while the 3 others went to the NSA, FBI, and CIA, seeking information on any unmasking requests in classified material made by former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, former CIA Director John Brennan, and former UN Ambassador Samantha Power. A Democratic aide on the Intelligence Committee tells NBC that the unmasking subpoenas were sent under the authority of Republican Chairman Devin Nunes, who recused himself from the Russia investigation, but is still investigating leaks of classified materials. This week, the Los Angeles Times revealed that Nunes told a Republican fundraising dinner in April that Democrats want a Russia investigation to justify Hillary Clinton's loss.
They want to continue the narrative that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump are best friends, and that's the only reason why he won, because Hillary Clinton could have never lost on her own, so it had to be someone else's fault. So they have tried to destroy this Russian investigation. They've never been serious about it. And one of the great things now that I've stepped aside from this Russian investigation, I can actually say what I want to say.
So, Julie Pace, it's interesting to watch what you're seeing inside the House Intel panel here, which is kind of a divide between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats wanting to look after Donald Trump and the people around him, and Republicans more focused on the issue of unmasking, if you look at the 3 subpoenas they put out of national security agencies. So there's even inside this House Intel panel a divide over what the problem is here.
Exactly, and this is really pushed by the White House. They want Republicans in these public hearings in particular to not be asking these witnesses questions about Russian interference in the election or possible connections with Trump associates in Russia. They want the Republican lawmakers to be asking questions about who's leaking information to the press on these stories, who in the Obama administration may have been unmasking the identities of Trump campaign officials. But pushing that does not make this story go away, in part because, as we mentioned earlier, Trump himself continues to talk about this on Twitter. When we were traveling abroad, he talked about the leak of classified information to the Russians that came from Israel. So even if the White House tries to institute a policy where they're not asking questions and they're trying to push the congressional questioning in a certain direction, as long as the president himself continues to weigh in on this, this is just going to make this much more difficult for them, and it's going to continue to stir controversy.
Joe?
Yeah, and you know, Mike Barnicle, you hear Devin Nunes talk there, and he's parroting what Donald Trump says. You know, he's being a dupe for Donald Trump, who keeps going back to, oh, this whole Russia investigation is to try to justify Hillary Clinton losing the election. I don't know anybody who thinks that. Nobody's concerned about Hillary Clinton losing the election in these investigations. What they're concerned about is Russia's influence in this country, and the fact the Trump administration has had meeting after meeting after meeting with Russian officials, and they haven't disclosed them, or they've outright lied to them. And I just wonder how much worse the Republican Party can look. And how bad are they going to look if they have these investigations and you actually have Russian interference in a cyber war against American democracy, which, by the way, was Dr. Brzezinski's first tweet in 2013 warning that this was coming. But how bad are they going to look if we actually have Russia trying to subvert our democracy, our democratic process, and all they're talking about are leaks and unmasking?
Well, Joe, I mean, it gets to the question, eventually the Republican Party is going to have to, as a group, as a unit, as a political entity, define what they stand for in the year 2017. I mean, we don't know what they stand for because they are largely silent in the wake of everything that you just spoke to. And the fact is that the Trump White House today is totally preoccupied with one thing. It's not the Paris Accord. It's not Afghanistan. It's Russia and their involvement in Russia and the president's personal involvement in Russia. If you look at his tweets just over the past couple of days, there's one tweet, either yesterday or the day before, where he basically accuses John Brennan and James Clapper of lying under oath. It's just absurd, the continuation of this spectacle involving Russia.
Yeah.
Well, it's absurd, and it's absurd that Mika, this man who, again, a Democrat until 2011, until he discovered birtherism, he takes over the Republican Party in a hostile takeover, and now they're just following him off the cliff.
It's
I
amazing.
do wonder, the next time a Republican comes on any show, on any network, and they start bitching about leaks from the FBI, I would ask them, what did they say when there were leaks coming out of the FBI regularly during Hillary Clinton's investigation into her email server for over a year? Where were the complaints then? Where were the complaints when leaks were coming out of the FBI during the Obama administration?
And that, too, was a legitimate issue.
All the time.
Yeah.
It happened over with the CIA. I mean, this happens all the time. So now suddenly, they're more concerned about this. They weren't concerned about it when it was happening against Hillary, but now suddenly we're supposed to stop and say, oh, we don't care that Russia interfered with our democracy. We're going to, it is a James Carver. Look over there. Look at the bird over there. Look at the bird. No, we're not going to look at the bird over there. We're going to keep looking at how Vladimir Putin is trying to undermine our democracy. Republicans, you know, for your well-being politically, you probably should too.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.